and Josh here from the Average Gamer Guys. We're going to do something slightly different format of things this time. We're just kind of going to have a bit of a discussion around, I guess, I don't know if it's a trademark term, but the state of a game.
Ooh.
See what I did there?
Risky.
See what I did there? I know. Careful. Massive are going to come after me. No, but about a game that we both love and think is fantastic. The Division 2, which has been out for 3 months, thereabouts now. We're in, it's early, early July now. I think it came out in April. So it hasn't been out for a huge amount of time. It's obviously a sequel. We both played the first one for a very extensive and long period of time as well.
And then we replayed it because it was like $12. It's like,
sure. No, that is true. I think I got to a point where I'd done everything I wanted to do for a while. It was in between updates. I had a hard copy of the disc. I traded it in at JB Hi-Fi to get another game, but then bought it again on the online store and downloaded. I still have it. Every now and then I'll still go back in and have a bit of a play around with it because it's obviously got some different features. I mean, it's at 3 or 4 years old, so it's had a lot of, all the updates have been done to it, all the new game modes have been done to it, which haven't quite been done yet with Division 2. Obviously, it's only 3 months old, but there's definitely a long-term plan of updates and regular content coming out. But comparing that in the first 3 months, how have you found the Division 2, Josh?
I really enjoyed it. As we've said, or I've said in all these reviews so far, I really enjoy a third-person shooter. Like Gears of War is one of my favorite franchises, and this is a tactical version of that. Looter shooters are really cool. Gameplay, the mechanics of it, I just really enjoy playing it. Playing through first time was magical. Like knowing just playing through and realizing that you can hook up with just the NPCs walking through, you can help them do missions. Like, it's a beautiful world that's been created. It's just really fun to play through, and working the way through to the end game was super rewarding. Like, when you found your first purple and then find your first gold item, like it was you were getting those hits of dopamine, and it was like you just want to keep coming back and playing more. Hitting end game is obviously opens up a whole new level. You lose some of the magic that you initially had, but there's still a lot to keep you coming back.
Yeah, I guess, look, I find the same thing. Going through the story missions and that gameplay was good fun to get to level 30. It's a really interesting take on things now that there's this, it's almost a buzzword, this end game content. It's a really, when you think about it, it's a really strange concept that, you know, the real game begins when you finish the game.
It is.
It's like, hold on a minute, wait, what's happening here? But playing through it was great fun, and as you said, you're sort of getting that better gear. It's such a complex system of gear, loadouts, weapons, when every piece of gear can have different talents. It might not have talents because it's all based on random number generation. There's some branded gear sets that will have talents and some won't. And then, you know, they might also have a health modifier or a skill modifier or a weapon damage modifier. And then your weapons all have talents or might not have talents, and they have damage ratings. And it sounds, when you first look at it, it is super overwhelming and really complicated. But I think what works really well when you're going through from level 1 to level 30 is, because you're sort of leveling up pretty quick, all of that stuff doesn't really mean much.
Correct.
So you don't really have to sit there and go, well, hold on a minute, what? I need to focus on talents and brand sets that work together and something that boosts weapon damage or explosive damage. You don't really have to worry about that at the early stages of the game. So
you're really only looking at like the top tier of what it offers, not the 3 or 4 below that.
So you sort of basically look with your weapons. It's like, oh, does this weapon do more damage than the one that I've got?
Tick.
Yep, cool. I'm going to run with this for the next 2 missions until I'm up another level, and I'm going to get better quality loot and continue. So, and rinse and repeat. So I think that works really well, that it gives you that time to be picking up loot, looking at it, and then sort of seeing how it works with other bits and pieces here and there without having to sit down and work on a full loadout before you can actually be effective in missions. Yeah. Which is really, really cool in that sense. What I found when I hit level 30 and you get to World Tier 1, and there's World Tier 1, World Tier 2, World Tier 3, World Tier 4, World Tier 5, that felt really pointless to me.
Okay.
The grind from World Tier 1 to World Tier 5, because you were doing kind of the same things to get through from one world tier to the next, and all you really wanted to do was get to World Tier 5. Because if you spent time now working on loadouts, it was a similar sort of thing to when you were going from level 1 to level 30.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do a few missions, once you get from World Tier 1 to World Tier 2, all the gear that you had from World Tier 1 is way underpowered and isn't going to be very effective in World Tier 2. So then you kind of go through similar missions and similar things to then get to World Tier 3. And then it's, oh, here we go again. I've got to get rid of all that gear. I've got to find all new gear until you get to World Tier 5. And that's when you can really have some fun with it.
Well, even like going from World Tier 1 to 5 wasn't a long experience. Like,
I mean, we got into it pretty hard, but I think it took just a couple of days worth of playing for a few hours here and there.
Exactly. If you had have really committed to it, would have been a lot better than us, which again isn't hard.
No.
You could have done it in a day. You really only had to grind enough gear for the minimum standard to do the stronghold. Do the stronghold, and you're away. So
yeah,
the strongholds take maybe half an hour or so to do. A couple of hours grinding each, you could knock it out in a session if you really committed to doing that. I certainly enjoyed just playing around and exploring. Exploring was a huge part of Division for me because it is such a detailed world. You can just find these hidden little missions or rooms with this really cool loot in it. So I took my time getting to that stage and just enjoyed it, but it was kind of pointless if you were speed rushing through to get from 1 to 5.
Yeah, because I mean, as I said, when you get to World Tier 5, that's when you can really, by then you've had enough time with it to understand how the gear system works, understand how the weapons work and the talents and the modifiers and things like that. So that's when you could actually really sit down and go, okay, now I can look at making a build that really works together. It might be, I want to focus on light machine gun damage, or I want to focus on skill damage or skill power, so to speak. Sorry, and I mean, up until now, I know they're talking about it in the latest state of the game and title updates, but skill power hasn't been a thing like it was in Division 1, where you could have a legitimate skill build.
Up until now, it's all been DPS based, like you're just a gunner, and that works for me because that's how I like to play. But
yeah, whereas I've sort of sat down, I've tinkered. I think I've got about 6 different loadouts at the moment, from ranging from like a crit, critical hit, critical chance focus build to a tank build, a dark zone build, a skill build I've just recently built. I've got a sniper build as well, where I've sort of been sitting down just playing around with little different things, because I know one of the main complaints in the community at the moment is that people are talking about the lack of build diversity that's in the game at the moment. Now, I probably spend 2 to 4 hours a week playing at the moment, and that's most of the time I've been playing DayZ lately in the last couple of weeks. Anyway, Dying Light lately in the last couple of weeks, but I'll probably still play an hour or two a week of Division 2, and I'm not in that boat where a lot of these people are playing for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and they're like putting in the grind. And I understand from the point of view of, if you sit there and you write down, I want this branded chess piece with this talent and a assault rifle damage skill boost and an armor skill boost or an armor level boost and this and that, and you are like that specific with it, you've got like a 1 in 300,000 chance.
Is it that good?
Or something.
I thought it's ridiculous. I think it's more.
Yeah, because it's all random number generation, and I just haven't sat there and put that much specificity to what I'm after. I do think it'd probably be a little bit better if with the recal station you could recal maybe 2 things off a piece instead of just 1. But I'm still having fun with the grind in saying that something will drop and then I'll look at one by one and it's like, well, okay, could I recal that 1 boost or talent off that, and would that work with one of my 6 builds? Whereas I think what's happening is that there's a lot of people out there that have their one main build that they love and that's what they want to run with, and they've spent 300 hours grinding
for that one build. Yeah,
and they're so specific, and they want the build to be the absolute perfect god roll on everything build, and they're so set on that, and they start to get so angry and so frustrated when that one piece or that one holster or that one knee pad that they want won't drop.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, and again, when you read through the forums, a lot of it comes down to everyone wanting the best, as opposed to just enjoying and being good enough to enjoy the content.
Yeah.
They want the best. Like every second thread on a Facebook or a Reddit is what's the best AR loadout, what's the best LMG, show me the best build. And if everyone wants the best, then there is no build diversity, because everyone's is aiming for that one build. This is the meta. This is what everybody's running. So, just play how you like.
But I think, and my take on it's always been, and like I said, I'll say again, I'm not playing for 6 hours a day like some of the hardcore gamers are, but I find it really hard to get my head around people saying there's no build diversity when there's so much diversity in the loot pool.
Correct. Yeah.
Like so much. And the reason that I've got 6 different builds that I've built now is because I kept finding stuff that would boost marksman rifles or boost your health or something like that. So which made me then think, well, can I build something around that then? If I'm getting so many drops that are boosting this, maybe I can build. I don't really play as a sniper very often, but maybe I can build a sniper build, and maybe I can have some fun with that. And then, once you've got that and you find a couple of decent marksman rifles like the Nemesis or something like that, and you can sort of boost that up, you can have a lot of fun with that. And then I played around with that, just had a bit of time in the dark zone, and ended up running across a couple of other guys and got into some PvP battles, and I think I probably died 6 or 7 times, but there were a couple of occasions where I was able to one-shot headshot.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
With the Merciless, because I had all the headshot damage boosting and the marksman rifle boosting and stuff like that. So it became a build that was a little bit fun to play with, and it was kind of cool. And I wasn't just trying to focus on getting that one piece to make it the god roll on absolutely everything. So there's so much, and I think when they're talking about now with Title Update 5, the PTS is live at the moment, where they're going to be basically renovating the entire skill foundations and how the whole skill side of things work, which sounds like they're going to make it a lot better. I know if you spend any time looking on Reddit or anywhere on the interwebs, it's just outrage culture with everything. People are already complaining about it, and it's not even live yet.
Wow.
It hasn't even been finalized yet. People are already complaining about this kind of stuff, which just blows my mind. But to go back to that and saying, when you talk about these live service games, the fact that the devs are sitting there and they're putting out weekly updates of this is what we're working on, this is what we're looking to fix.
The transparency of what they're doing,
which is unlike anyone. There's never been a game out there that or a development team out there that have been as transparent, as massive, and they have with the Division team. They did it with Division 1, and they've done it with Division 2. Other development teams are starting to follow a little bit. But still no one's as open and transparent with doing weekly shows or shows every 2 weeks of the state of the game. Here's what we're working on. This is what we've had. We've
acknowledged that these are the issues that you're having. This is what we're doing to fix them.
And obviously there's some things that they're just like, no, that's working as intended.
Deal with it.
Because some people complain about the most ridiculous things.
But we're old enough to remember games that you bought a game. So that's your $90 game. You have 10 hours of gameplay. Then 6 months to a year later, you get an expansion pack, which gives you another 3 or so hours of maybe an extra unit for multiplayer. Done like that. And I love those games. Now you're buying a game with the view to be playing it in years' time. It's crazy how far we've come.
Well, I mean, the Division 1 was around for 3 years?
It's still got a player base now,
and it still has a player base. I know a lot of people have gone away from the Division 2 and gone back to the Division 1 because not so much that the Division 2 is in a bad place at the moment, but for those people that do have been grinding for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, with the level of content that's out there for the Division 2 at the moment, it's probably run its course.
Let's also be real, like the first division, because it has been around for so long, has had a lot more time to polish all the elements of it, all the it's the game that the players wanted after that many years. Like when it first launched, it had all the same problems, and it took multiple updates to get to a stage where everyone goes, yeah, this
Yep.
is awesome.
And it was at a point where everyone said, "No, it's dead, it's broken. I'm never
100%.
going to play it again." But then they continued to rework it. They added the underground, they added survival, they added it was like a horde type.
Yeah, that were
mode
really cool modes.
that was in there as well. So there was all this constant replayability that had been added to it with PvP, PvPvE, and just PvE as well. And they've obviously got the same plan with the Division 2,
Mhm.
but people just need to
Calm down.
be patient and realize that the game's been out for 3 months. I saw a post, I think it was on, I can't remember whether it was on Facebook or Reddit last week, that had basically, it was literally a guy had typed, "Is anyone else completely bored with this game now? Nothing left to do. You know, I've only spent 300 hours in it and there's just nothing to do. Is anyone else as bored and tired of this game as me?" And I just read that and I just thought for a minute, the game's been out for
300
3
hours?
months. You've spent 300 hours in it in 3 months, and you're saying that you're bored and there's nothing to do?
I will continue to play this game because I enjoy it, but I've already got my money's worth.
100%.
Like, that's
So was that guy that spent 300 hours in it.
Yeah.
We haven't spent 300 hours in it.
no, we definitely haven't.
And, you know, I'd feel that I've definitely got my money's worth out of it, but there's more stuff coming. There's the new episodes coming soon. Probably, well, now it's probably a couple of weeks away.
We haven't even run through the first year of free
No.
updates that are coming out. So
No, not at all. There's been, and you know, the people are complaining about the raid and it's too hard and
raids are supposed to be hard.
they don't.
I haven't played the
make-
raid.
No, neither have I. To be honest, I'm of the opinion I probably will never play the raid.
I will play the raid, but like 3 years down the track, when
Yeah,
we're so
potentially.
overpowered, we can
Yeah.
run through a one-shot
Yeah.
boomer and just be like, yeah, I got the eagle bearer.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. I think people sort of just sit there and they expect that just because they've bought the game, they're entitled.
I think
to
that's the key word there.
Everything in the game. Now, this might be a controversial view, but I bought the ultimate version of the game.
You did.
I did, and was rewarded by getting a level 1 lullaby and a level 1 ruthless, which
I bought the one which had the little teddy bear, which
Yeah,
now lives on
I
my
didn't-
backpack.
I
I didn't
didn't-
even get the specials.
so just yeah. So I mean, I got that, and that was fun to use. They were fun to use for the first 2 levels, but then when they were underpowered exotics, by the time I got to level 3, I was like, really, that's pretty much all I got.
You did.
I have access to the classified missions, which they are kind of fun, but there's not a huge amount there. So, but I still think I've got my money's worth for the game. But I also don't sit there and think that I'm entitled because I've bought the game that I should then be able to get the Eagle Bearer, which is at the moment probably the best weapon in the game.
But you played as long as everybody else was. Iron Jesus, he
Yeah.
needs to give it to you.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't believe that. It's the best weapon in the game, and it is currently locked behind the hardest content in the game, which makes complete sense in my
Absolutely.
head.
Yeah.
Like, if you want the best out of it, you have to do the most difficult content. I can't do the most difficult content. I don't have the build for it.
Nope.
And yes, understand it is hard to find 8 players, but realistically, it's not that hard if you really want to do it.
If you want to, you'll get it done.
We have the internet that connects everyone instantly. It's not hard to do. And even just playing some of the strongholds on the challenging difficulties, trying to do that without talking to someone and communicate with your team.
It's hard enough playing
It's
with some of our mates. Like
Mm.
they're just so random.
Yeah. And there's enough, I think, going back to that point of, I can't get the Eagle Bearer. Yep. Well, there's enough assault rifles.
You're probably
and
going to be okay.
LMGs and SMGs out there that I can put a build together that I'm going to have fun with without having that one weapon.
I haven't, like, we've got most of the exotics. I think we're chasing
The
2 if you
I just don't
include.
have the shotguns.
And look, whilst they're a lot of fun, they're not a game-changing weapon.
No.
Like, the Nemesis is awesome. Like, you can one-shot most things. It's cool. Like, I've made builds around it. It's definitely the most high-powered exotic that there is at the moment. But I don't play a sniper, so it doesn't really... Like, it's cool to have, and it's fun to play, but it's not a game-changing weapon. It's not like the Galahorn in Destiny 1. Like, you can still finish the game content without that weapon.
Yeah, and like I said, you can still have fun. And the other side of it is they're constantly adding more. There's a new exotic rifle coming, a bolt action rifle. It's coming in
Cool.
Title Update 5, which is an exotic. There's 2 new normal weapons as well. There's a new LMG and there's a new
Assault rifle,
assault rifle coming as well, which I don't think full details have been released about, but they're only a couple of weeks away.
I think we're getting some exotic armor components. We've already got the holster.
There's a holster available, which I haven't started to grind out yet. Same thing. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Oh well.
It'll be okay.
There's other. It's not like I don't.
The world will continue to.
Yep, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's going to be fine. But I think there's skill-based gloves.
Okay.
They're the new ones that are coming out, and this is another thing. The outrage culture is going off about skill. What's the point of having skill-based stuff?
Don't use it. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that leads me to the other point about the Dark Zone. I love the Dark Zone. Loved it in Division 1. Still love it in Division 2. I get owned. Don't get me wrong. I get owned hard in the Dark Zone. But every now and then,
you get a win.
I'll get a kill. I'll get a bounty and I'll take that one down. And it feels awesome when that happens and it's good fun.
It's a high risk, high reward environment. That's always what it's supposed to be. And that is what it is.
Yeah. Because I've heard, and same thing going back, talking about the outrage culture on the internet, that a lot of people talk about it and they say that there's no point, the Dark Zone shouldn't even be there. What's the point? It's like, well, if you don't enjoy it,
don't play.
Just don't play it. There's plenty of PvE content that you can do. You don't have to do the Dark Zone for. Now that they're basically removing, or they pretty much have removed the main reason to go in and farm in the Dark Zone. Sure, I think the loot drop rate is higher, so you will get more loot in the period of time that you're playing. But when it first came out,
drops per hour. Yep.
Yeah, when it first came out, I think if I'm correctly, when Division 2 was first released, the Dark Zone had higher levels of gear.
Okay, so it was like more GS 500s.
Higher gear score stuff would drop in the Dark Zones, which, if I'm correct, they have changed now. So realistically, there's no real point. I don't know whether you can own. I think you could probably only still get the Pestilence in the Dark Zone. I don't know if you can get that anywhere else.
That sounds correct.
I think it's still.
I found mine in the Dark Zone.
Yeah, and I've had the ones that I had 2 that I deconstructed both of because back when it was before it got its.
Oh, it's still shit.
Boosts and its buffs. But yeah, that's realistically, a lot of people are saying the Pestilence is pointless. You could probably build a good, if you sat down and actually thought about it, you could probably put a decent build together around it, but you would have to be very specific. Have to be lucky with your drops, obviously, and what you're getting. But you don't have to go into the Dark Zone.
No.
If you don't want to. So why? I just don't understand why people need to complain about it.
Because it's their right. They bought the game, and so I need to do the thing. Look, I
really makes
my heart rate gets jacked every time I go into the Dark Zone. Yeah. So it's not I don't particularly enjoy it. Certainly not as much as you, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like I go in there and you just don't know. You could meet a friendly. Like I've had some great Dark Zone encounters where I've just run into a random group and we've just gone, yeah, cool. We rolled through checkpoints, healed each other, great time. Then I've been ganked. By gang squads. I've had guys just turn rogue behind my back after I helped them, but that's the very nature of what makes the Dark Zone the Dark Zone. And
it's the exact reason they built it.
And if I don't like it, then I don't have to go in there. It's that if other content is getting a bit stale and I do, feel like having a spike in blood pressure, then go for it. It is a scary place to be, and they've created that environment, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's like wanting to play Resident Evil and not see zombies. It's ridiculous.
Just like you said, just that variety of, you are going to go in there sometimes, and there's going to be people that just start shooting on sight. And that's just the way it's going to be. Then there's going to be other times where you're going to come across someone and you're going to have that awkward standoff where you're kind of going to be looking at each other and you're going to be like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? And then all of a sudden you get an invite to a group. You're like, yeah, cool. This will be sweet. I'll jump in.
I've also been shut up by people who haven't gone rogue before, which is like, they're trying to shoot me, but they don't know what they're doing. So you can just go,
Yeah, nice. So you're obviously not playing in the occupied Dark Zone.
No.
Yes, which is a whole nother level to it. But I'm going to be very interested to see how the Dark Zone and the PvP evolves.
Well, Conflict hasn't been great.
No, I've actually not played Conflict. I haven't tried it.
I don't enjoy the PvP aspect as much as the PvE, so I haven't. I suppose should be taken with a grain of salt because it's those same salty players who are complaining about it, but from what I haven't heard a lot of good feedback on
Yeah.
Conflict.
So I'll be interested to see how it evolves because it really was, I guess, to a point that the Dark Zone in Division 1 was one of the things that was so popular about it. It was in a really, it was in, I think it was in a good place, then it was in a bad place, and then through updates, I think it got to a better place again
I believe so, yeah.
towards the end. But it was almost like a bit of a cornerstone of the Division 1. It was like it was the foundation of the Division 1. It was the centerpiece of the map. The whole center section
absolutely
of the
was.
map was the Dark Zone. So that was it. Then I guarantee you, I'd be so shocked if they abandoned it. They're not going to abandon the Dark Zone. I'm just going to be interested to see how it changes and evolves and what they do and what they change.
I don't know if it needs to change. Like the Dark Zone is what it's always been. If we have other multiplayer aspects like Conflict or different modes within just a straight PvP, I think that's probably the way to go. But Dark Zone, like there is the controlled ones where everyone's normalized, the normalized Dark Zones.
Which is a new addition that didn't exist in the Division 1.
No. Dark Zone was a lot scarier in Division 1.
It definitely did have a different mood, like having the darkness and the snow and obviously just the decaying abandonment of the area. It definitely did have a different mood to it. Whereas obviously what they're going for in Washington, D.C. in the Division 2 is the idea of a new start and regrowth, and there's greenery growing through in certain areas. It's kind of hard to recreate that same
of course
feeling like in New
we're
York
not in the
in
middle of
height
winter. It's definitely different,
which will be interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But I am all for there being specific content locked behind specific game modes.
Of course.
Like if they created new exotics or new exotic gear sets or brand sets or something like that had the talents and the stats were PvP focused and they were locked behind the Dark Zone, that makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I think the fruits of the raids should be some of the best quality content in the game, and the only way to get them should be by completing the hardest content in the game.
You also wear it as a badge. Like when I first got the chatterbox, running around with the chatterbox on my back,
that I thought plume of green smoke.
I was so cool. Like it was. It is like a badge of pride. And if you're running through, and I remember going back to like a Destiny where you have got your raid armor and you're running your exotic weapon on your back, and everybody can see that this person has completed the hardest content in the game.
Yep.
It's a bit of a chip on your shoulder. It's quite cool.
Well, it's good. There's got to be that sense of achievement, and I guess it comes back to that sense of achievement versus entitlement.
Yeah, I've earned it, or everybody gets a participation medal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't get a trophy just for turning up.
Well, you do. You get to play the game. It's great. But if you want to get the blue ribbon, that's you've got to win it.
Yeah, no, that I completely agree with. And it's just good to see. You look at the roadmaps and you look at sure, things have been delayed and that sort of stuff, but that just things happen.
Yeah, we live in the real world.
That's just the way it is. So you can't get upset because the raid got pushed back 2 weeks. I would much prefer they do that than to release something that's broken, doesn't work as well as it was supposed to work. So there's more raids coming. There's a lot more content coming. We should get Total Update 5 within the next couple of weeks.
It's just got episodes.
Which has got some new story missions. And I think that's another thing that they've done really well too, is that the storyline is going to continue through the end game, whereas it didn't in the Division 1. Once you finish, you got to the end game content. There was no more story missions.
No, it was just
the incursions and then the survival mode,
the underground,
which wasn't based around.
It didn't continue the story.
No, whereas here they're very very clearly focused on continuing the story all the way through to. I think when they announced at E3 that whatever update it was, but going back to New York to hunt down a rogue agent,
just cool.
Which is awesome.
I can't wait to see how that plays out. Do we get all of New York again, or is it just
Coney Island, which is going to be different? I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what they do. With
even in going back to New York in a different season is going to look so entirely different. It's
so that in itself is really cool. I'm super excited for the Pentagon.
Yeah, there'll be some cool stuff.
I want to see what they do with the Pentagon, because there's a lot of people out there with their theories that because the Pentagon effectively it's the biggest office building in the world because of how far underground it goes. that no one really knows officially how many floors underground there are. So the beauty of that is
It's a great platform for a game.
The developers basically have free reign because it's also highly classified with what it is as well. We got a little visitor. Hey, what are you doing? You're just here, are you? Yeah, okay. You got Elsa. Yeah, nice. Where's Anna?
It's another downloadable character.
Yeah, maybe got a. And I got a haircut.
Doesn't care for the haircut.
You right there? Oh, right, okay. Okay, back to the chat. We just had a little visit from a little 2.5-year-old. Anyway, with the Pentagon, because it's obviously highly classified. There's no one knows the layout of the building because it's supposedly one of the most secure buildings in the world. It gives the developers free reign. They can create whatever they want inside the walls of that building.
Would kind of work really well as a. I've completely lost my English now, but the underground.
That's what most people are theorizing.
Like, because you can just run like a random dungeon with a random office.
Because you could go one could be on floor minus 200.
Yep.
Underground.
And this could be a scientific club that we're doing in here.
Who knows what it could be? There could be a tunnel system underneath that goes all under DC.
Yep.
Who knows? The possibilities are endless with what they could do with the Pentagon.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and also being a big fan of the American Treasure type.
Well, we did have to already get the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, exactly. So I love those movies and those sort of theories of the president's book and what's in that president's book, and
it's pretty cool.
So I kind of love that they're going down that road a little bit, with going into places like the Pentagon and the Black Tusker in there looking for secrets. So who knows what we're going to find in all that? But I would assume that they're probably, because I guess survival mode was. I mean, it was, from what I hear, it was pretty popular.
Everyone loves survival because it was a PvPvE environment, but you had to do things just to stay alive.
Yeah, and the underground was super popular, so I can only assume they're going to release similar sort of reworked versions of that of those things that were such good elements of the last version of the Division 1. Because I still think, I think player bases. I don't think there's an issue with player bases at the moment. There's a lot of people saying that the player base isn't there. The player base has gone back to the Division 1. Sure, it's probably dropped off a little bit like us. We're not playing it as much as we once were. But I also think...
But there are still new players coming in.
All the time. And I think the free weekend that they did a couple of weeks ago brought a lot of people into that. But I also think, like, we look at these things and these games from the average gamer point of view, where a couple of hours a week here and there, we've got families, we've got jobs. The average gamer, that mid-30s gamer, they're not paying attention to Reddit. They're not paying attention to Facebook groups about games. They're not looking at Twitch and streaming and stuff like that. And this is where all these people that post on these forums on the internet, and they have these voices of saying the game's dead or it's broken or things doesn't work, and they just like to complain about things. The only thing that they've got to go to about player bases, because Massive and Ubisoft don't release their numbers of player bases, they've only got Twitch numbers.
Yep.
So they jump on Twitch and they see that only 200 people are streaming Division 2 gameplay, yet 8,000 people are streaming Destiny 2 gameplay. The average gamers make up the bulk of the player bases.
They're not watching the streams.
They're not streaming and they're not watching the streams. So I don't think that you can it's only the hardcore gamers that are streaming. So that just means hardcore gamers that spend 6, 7, 8 hours a day playing games have gone away from the Division 2. And they've gone on to something else. But the majority of us, who knows, I'll probably make up 90% of the amount of copies sold of the Division 2.
It's very easy to get caught up in that world. Like we do spend probably more time than we should on the Reddit, just seeing what's going on.
Yeah, and look, I think that's a product of this project that we're doing as well, to sort of stay informed with things where we do spend a little bit more.
But when you're surrounded, like creating content certainly a new thing for me. So
Mm.
just reading what other people have to say, it's very easy to get caught up in the everyone's hating on this. But the reality is it's a very small percentage of the people are actually involved. Like we're still enjoying it, and let's be real, it's kind of why we wanted to do this to put forward
Yeah.
a different view that this is still enjoyable content. Like don't be put off by a negative review by people
Well-
who aren't playing at the level that we're playing at.
And I think that's a big issue that will potentially be turning some people off, because I see we follow a Facebook group that's Division Australia, New Zealand players and stuff like that as well. And every now and then there is someone will jump on there and they go, "Oh, I've been thinking about buying the game. Is it worth buying? Because I've read some pretty bad things when I've searched on the internet for it." And it's because of this outrage culture that people are saying, "Oh, the game's boring. There's nothing to do. I've spent 400 hours in it or 300 hours in it, and I've got nothing to do. It's terrible. It's no good." And these sorts of things that people are posting online are probably putting people off that are thinking about trying it and jumping in on it and going, "Oh yeah, look, maybe I'll give it a crack." And the majority of people that are going to spend 2, 3, 4 hours a week playing a game are going to have an absolute ball with a game like the Division 2.
If you go back 3 months when it was first released, the Reddit forum was alive with just how magical this game was. Like the world was great, it looked beautiful, everything was great. It wasn't until people started hitting that end game content where everything was. That's when it all turned. And but initially, like that first 30 hours of gameplay was great. People absolutely loved it. So if you're only playing a couple hours a week, that's 3 months worth of gameplay that you have, which you are absolutely going to love this game before you start to hit an area where you need to start thinking a little bit more. At which point, there's going to be so much more content.
There's more with the more content that's going to come out. If you're jumping on it now, in 3 months' time, there's going to be Title Update 5 comes out in a couple of weeks. By then there'll probably be another raid, and there'll be more content coming out with outskirts,
new weapons,
sort of
new
as well. There's going to be new weapons.
So much more coming out,
and so the first year of content is all basically being released free. Then obviously year 2 there's going to be a season pass. We're probably going to have to pay $60 to then get access to the season 2 content, which I'll gladly do. There'll be no issues with that at all, because I assume with season 2 there will be a lot of modes that'll come out that'll be like the Underground, or they'll be like Survival, that have that endless replayability.
And they have been completely honest with what is involved. Like there was a roadmap of everything that was coming out for year 1. This is everything that we're going to give you for free in year 1.
Yeah.
And it may have been 2 weeks delayed, but so far everything that they've said is coming out is coming out.
Yeah, and feedback's important when they do the test server stuff on the PC. They need feedback, but it needs to be constructive feedback. And I've seen the devs post that basically directly on Twitter. It basically says, if you want to provide feedback, please make it constructive, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, game's broken," and complaining and just voicing waste of time stuff like that. So the devs are listening. They're recording any kind of constructive feedback that comes in. Like if someone says, "Hey, I think the skills would work better if this was a thing because of this reason," they take that on board and they look at that and then they review it and they look into it. And like you said, there's a roadmap there. So if you've done it and you've put 300 hours into the game and you're bored with it, go play another game. This isn't the only game that's available right now.
Just looking at E3 and what's coming out, we're not going to have enough time to play all the things that we want to.
Not at all. And I understand some people that they love it and they want to play this. They want to play one game more and more and more, but it's unrealistic. If you're playing that many hours, then you're going to get to a point where, you know what, I need a break. I need something else.
Same with literally anything.
I love Mexican food, but I'm not going to have tacos for dinner every single night, because if I do that, get about a week and a half in, I'm not going to want to eat tacos anymore. But they're still my favorite food.
A soft taco as opposed to a hard shell taco.
Why can't we have both?
I see what you did there.
I don't know what the Mexican. What is he?
I'm just going to offend everybody if I try.
Yeah, good point. We don't need to do that.
Where's Cookie? Cookie would know.
Would he?
Of course he would.
Okay, sure. I'll take your word for it. But I guess that in summary, what else are you looking at? Division 2 coming up. What are you excited for? What are you waiting for?
I'm excited for the episodes.
Yep.
So new story content. People have been really harsh with the story. I've enjoyed the story.
Mm-hmm.
So more new environments will be great. Looking forward to being powerful enough to attempt the raid. They are launching like a soft mode, I think. I'm not sure entirely what they're calling it.
I saw an image. Someone had shared a screenshot from the PTS, the test server, this week that had a matchmaking button around the raid.
Correct. So it's matchmaking. Well, this is my understanding of it anyway. It's matchmaking, but it's also a really dumbed down version of it. So people get to experience the content, but all the Gucci gear will still be locked behind the hard version of it. So everyone will get to play the raid. You can matchmake, you can play with a bunch of randoms, and it's at a level that should be easy enough that everybody will be able to complete the story elements and the mechanics of the raid. But it won't have the same level of difficulty as a standard raid. And as such, you won't be rewarded with, you know, the content that is locked behind.
Like the Eagle Bearer,
correct,
for example.
Or the sets that go along with it.
Right, okay. So that'll be interesting. So effectively, at the moment, you go and do the raid, effectively it's like on heroic difficulty.
Correct.
So what you're saying is that we might be able to matchmake
at a story level.
Normal.
Correct.
Because that's another one of the big complaints is that there's no matchmaking around being able to do on the raid. From what I've seen of content of the raid, I am all for there being no matchmaking. Because of how difficult the content is and how coordinated you need to be. From what I've seen in the video clips I've seen of the raid, if you were trying to do that without communication, and I mean to the point of prep as well, in looking at what's your build and what's your role going to be throughout the raid with that specific build. If you're just jumping in with 7 other random people that all have random builds that you don't know what they are, and 4 of them don't have mics, and
completing challenging with random sometimes is why, and I'm not very good. Yeah. So I'm not, setting the bar too high, but when you run up and face tank and die instantly, like, come on.
And I can only imagine, look, we're pretty placid with games, but some people out there get emotional.
They do
with things. So some of the toxicity and the abuse that would be pouring through the mics during match-made raid sessions, I think would be no fun for anybody.
No, especially if you're sensitive or, a younger member of the community. You don't need to hear that level of, spicy vitriol coming out.
No. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out then, if they do implement, because obviously with what the things, not everything that's live in the PTS actually makes it into the official game. So they might be trialing it. It might not make it. Maybe it will. Who knows? But
it'll be interesting at what level they set it at as well, because remember the PTS is PC based.
Yes.
Which finished the raid in a very small fraction of what it's taking compared console.
To Yep, and I understand. I've seen people say, "Oh, why can't we do PTS on console and stuff like that as well?" The basics of it, I don't understand it completely, but the basics of it are that the hoops that you've got to jump through to get something approved to go onto the PlayStation Store as an update, or the export Microsoft Store as an update, is just ridiculous and too hard. Whereas on PC, they can just push the update straight out. They don't have to have that approved and tested by anyone at all. So it's just, they tried it. I think they tried it on console once in the Division 1, and it was just a nightmare. And it was just horrific for them. So I can understand that. I get the frustrations and the differences with aiming difficulty and control difficulty on a console versus a PC. Aiming with a mouse and keyboard is a lot easier, so you can stack headshot damage and do a lot more increased damage in a short period of time in that sense. But I don't think you can be unhappy with the amount of dedication and the work that the team are putting into this. And I think a lot of people that are getting annoyed and complaining about it just aren't thinking with perspective on that at all, which is a shame. But like I said, I think the majority of the community are really good. The only problem is that they're just not the vocal majority. It's the minority that are vocal about it. So I'm definitely still interested to see what comes, what updates, what changes they make, how they continue to look at improving the game and adding the content, which is going to continue for at least the next couple of years. So there's going to be plenty of stuff to do. Maybe we just need to have a variety of games in the library that we play.
Look, I'm watching this like as we're chatting, and I'm excited. I want to go back and have another go.
Yeah.
I wasn't as bad as I maybe remember being.
Is this your footage? Are you sure?
I think. Shut up. Maybe download it from someone else.
Yeah, potentially. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So looking forward to the new content to come out within the next couple of weeks. And if you are on the cusp and thinking about jumping in and trying the Division 2, I wholeheartedly recommend you jump on it and grab it. I can't imagine that you'll have a bad time with it at all.
Absolutely not. I agree with you 100%. Especially the first 30 or so hours of gameplay is some of the best that I've played for a very long time.
Yeah. Ripper, I think maybe we'll jump in and play a game now.
Sounds good.